Okay, so this is part two. We left off where I couldn't get that bolt off, that hex bolt right there. We're just gonna leave that alone for now. What I want to do is take off this mount and lower the engine so it's straight ahead, and then I want to hit it with an impact. You guys might have to get an adapter and put a 1/2 inch extension on there, and then hit it really hard with the breaker bar, 1/2 inch breaker bar, and that should probably do it. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it out right now, but we'll try again in a little bit. But for right now, I want to focus back up on this wiring right here. I'm going to take it all the way off from the other end. There is 2 connectors left down there. I do feel a bolt right there, a little bit to the side. I'm going to try to record it the best I can. I don't know if I'll be able to. And there is another little screw that goes into that. I believe it's a high power or a high pressure line for the power steering. So it's just a little holder, so I'm gonna take that out. And then there is 2 bolts straight up from underneath the vehicle, which I am gonna get. I'm gonna try to record it again the best I can, and then we're gonna have that ready. So the very last thing I'll have to do is lower this down a little bit, get all this taken care of, take the timing cover off. Obviously we're gonna get our marks over here before we loosen the chain, and then go from there. And then I'll show you guys how to exactly take these bolts off, head bolts off, and then we should have it ready. But yeah, this is part 2. We're gonna get to it. Okay, so up here we're gonna follow this wiring, and if you could zoom in right here, that little thing has a 10mm screw right here in the back. So I'm just gonna put that in there, crack it loose. And then now that's a little bit loose, we're gonna unplug this connector back here. As you can see, I've unplugged it. And there's another one below it, right there. So we're gonna get that out of the way. And we're gonna free this hose up. We're gonna take this out right here. Right there. Just gonna hit it. Bring it over. Try to crack it loose. Just like that. Now we're gonna try to get it out of there. Just like that. Now we got this out of the way.
And now we're gonna go under the car.
And then from down here, there are 2 green tabs right there. I already took them out. Now we can go above the car again and move the wiring. Now we can move all these strands of wiring just to the side, get them out of the way completely. Now we can focus up here. There is a gas line right here. Right there. And then you'll just pop it out. Pry this protector off. Kind of like that. Get that out of the way, and then there's 2 tabs right here. There is high pressure lines, so you're gonna want to wear your safety glasses. Now there's 2 tabs on the side. So you're gonna push those in, and you're gonna pull this out. There we go. Got that out, get it out of the way. And then now, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but there is that high pressure power steering line I was talking about. Now we're gonna grab a, I believe it's a 10 millimeter. That is just to get the holder for the power steering line out of the way. You're not gonna disconnect the power steering line itself. So that's just where it's held so it doesn't flap around when the car is on. And that's it. As you can see now it's loose. That's all we needed to do there. Now from down underneath the vehicle again, there is two little screws right there, 10 millimeters. I'm gonna take them out real quick. That's the one holding the manifold to the block. Okay, so we're back up on the top of the engine bay. There's a hose going into the intake manifold. There's a clamp. I just slid it out right there. And this hose goes all the way to the brake booster on the car itself. Now that you got that, you can just slide it out. I'm just gonna turn it with the pliers real quick. There we go. And then now I'm gonna pull it back. Got that out of the way now. Now we're good up here. As far as I can see, there's nothing. Oh wait, hold on. There's one more line. Right there on the throttle body. Take that out. Loosen this up. Just be careful because sometimes these break. You don't want to tighten it too much. I'm gonna be safe and grab a different pair of pliers. These pliers are meant for hoses, so I'm just gonna hit it real quick with those. It just kind of wraps around them, and then you can just turn them. Take that out of the way. While we're up here, I'm gonna do some coolant lines. There's, I believe the ones going into the heater core on this side. As you can see, these two hoses. So I'm gonna get those out. Get one right there. They might still have coolant in them. Even though you already drain them, doesn't mean it always comes out all the way. So anyways, we'll get this first clamp here. And then there's this line now. Just gonna get it off that holder. Okay, got those out of the way now. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take this clamp out. That wasn't very hard. And we're just gonna loosen it, pop it out, get that out of the way. I'm gonna get these three out. I believe that goes right into the head. So I'm gonna take these out and push it that way so I can release this, and then we can leave that alone. Okay, so these are 12 mil. So we got that off the head. Now we can leave that there. Okay, we're gonna take this hose out. Get that clamp out of the way. And now So you're just gonna rotate the engine from here, from down here, There's a 19 mil, get a long extension. Just put it right there on the crankshaft. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna look up here. And then if you look closely, there's the letters say up. So that'll face up. Then there's two lines on each side that'll line up with the surface of this. And then from there on, you'll see that there's a different colored link, and the link should match up the notch. If it's not quite there, you can keep rotating it until it lines up exactly there. And that's what I'm gonna do, because when you take off the chain, you should always put it exactly like that. So now we're gonna go from there. Okay, we're gonna put a wooden block just right there to support the engine from underneath. We're gonna put it right under the oil pan, just enough till it touches. About it. Then we're gonna come up here, and we need to take this mount off. So we're gonna get these two bolts out. They look like they're 14. Actually, they are 17 millimeters. Now we're gonna get this 17 mil out. The other two look like they're 19s. Forgot to mention, there's a 10 millimeter ground. Now on your jack down here, you'll lower it a little bit till the engine begins to slowly go down. As you can see, the engine is going down. Just a little bit. Now we're gonna see if we're completely lined up to get that bolt. Now we're gonna get that crankshaft pulley out. These sockets are really nice for that. They're thicker than your average socket, so I do recommend getting one of these. Here's the difference between the two, and trust me, they make a huge difference. But they're usually made for air tools. We're gonna try it on the electric, see if it even does anything. Don't lose that. Very important. I'm gonna put some heat on it, on that tensioner bolt. So that tensioner, I couldn't get out. I just hit it with a lot of heat, a lot of penetrating fluid. Then I hit it with the impact, the one that did it at the end, which you should probably use a breaker bar, but I just used this huge ratchet, this huge extension, and then I ended up getting it loose. Okay, you're gonna get a 10 millimeter socket. Just gonna put it down here, and you're gonna get both of these down here first, or at least that's where I'm gonna start. That one and that one. And then while you're still down here, we're gonna get a couple right here. 7 10mm screws on the bottom here. And then I do see what looks like to be a 12mm up here. So I'm gonna get that real quick before we go to the top. So I just hate so much clutter, so I'm gonna get this mount out of the way right here. The whole thing is just really bugging me, and that way I can show you guys what to do after. I'm sure you could do it without taking this out. So what I did is took out that 17mm right there, bolt. Now I'm gonna take, let's see, I think I could get away with just taking these two out. So there's one down there, I believe it's 17, and another 17 down there. And actually I just noticed something. We're gonna take these two out because there's no way I'm gonna be able to slide this out. So take those two out. And there is a line for high pressure AC line on it. $17mm. By the way, these wobble sockets are definitely worth it. Okay, and we got that loosened. Took a good while. It's a lot of rust. Then from up here there is another one. Well, a couple 12 mils. There's one here. There's one there. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. There was one right below it, but I already took it out. It's right next to the power steering pump right there. So let's get to it. Total, I got 7 12mm screws just on that side, and then there is one more very hidden 10mm back there. As you can see, I just loosened it out, but yeah, that missing 12 was right there. Just letting you guys know along the way. And then now I'm just gonna hit it with like a dead blow hammer right here, and we'll go from there. Possibly just gently pry this end. Okay, so when you pull this out, there will be 3 O-rings. There's one here, one there, one here. This one's obviously stuck over there. What you want to do next is, I went ahead and put the crankshaft bolt back in. Don't over tighten it. And then what you do is, you're gonna look from up here. So you're gonna turn counterclockwise so that can tighten. As you can see, it's tightening up. And then next, you'll grab a small Allen or a little push pin, and then you'll just stick it right there. Now you'll line up your marks again, As you can see, that push pin has grabbed on now. Now we're gonna see how it looks up, and then we're gonna get our marks here, counterclockwise again, and then from down here. Okay, as you can see, there's like two little triangles facing each other, and then that's how you know you're properly lined up. So now from here we can go ahead and loosen the tensioner that we put that push pin through. So those are two 10 millimeters screws. So we're gonna go right here, loosen that up. Careful not to hit your holder right there. This is only if you're gonna be reusing this tensioner. That's it. That's your tensioner. Now from the bottom, there is a little bolt on the guide. Or actually, yeah. So it's a 6 millimeter hex. There is 3 screws. They're all 10 millimeters. I have already loosened them. So go ahead and take those out. And then that's the other tensioner, or guide. Now from here, you can get this chain off. I'm just gonna lean it down here for now. And then I'm gonna take out the spark plugs finally. Why I didn't do it from the beginning is it gets way too sensitive if I take them out from the beginning because there's no pressure being held. So now is the perfect time to get them out right before we take out the cylinder head bolts. And now's the moment you all been waiting for. We're gonna start taking off the cylinder head bolts down here. So the first thing to do is to follow this order with my cool map here. We're just gonna follow that. Number 1, each one will be a 3rd turn at a time. So we're gonna start from here according to the map. So right now I'm taking the head bolts out. If you're gonna reuse the bolts, they have to go in the same spot that they came out of. If you're getting new bolts, you don't have to do this. First thing I had to do was take this hose off and then get this out of the way so I can get the cables out of the way. And then that was it. Just pry just on the edge right there. Don't try to go into it because you'll possibly break something, but this is what it looks like after. So this car definitely looks like, I don't know if it had coolant already in there, but I don't know. But we'll see for ourselves. Anyway, I had to switch camera. My other camera died. This might look a little different, but it's the only part we're doing. Other than that, that's it. We'll be doing a reassembly later. Possibly, I don't know. This is taking way long to record and do it for you guys, so I would really appreciate some positive feedback. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is please like, share, subscribe, and then we'll possibly do a reassembly video. All right guys, thanks for watching. So if you want to prep the cylinder head to take it to the machine shop, you need to take the intake manifold off. There's a couple bolts. We'll start getting them. So after you take, there's actually 4 bolts and 2 nuts. You can go ahead and pull this whole piece out with the throttle body. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the Vtec solenoid over here. And then from there we can also take these out. So I'm going to start out with this. So for the Vtec solenoid you need, it's 3 10-inch or 10mm bolts. And then there's your gasket. If you're not gonna replace it, take it off and keep it somewhere safe. Alright, so the next thing, we're gonna remove the fuel injectors. There's just 2 nuts right here. Next thing we want to do is we don't want to scratch the surface right here. So I'm gonna lay a rag over it just so I can get some leverage and pry up on this. Just like that. Lift up. As you can see, those are the fuel injectors. Now, last but not least, we're gonna take off this coolant line. Pop those 2 out. And there's one more at the bottom. And then now we'll remove this one. There's only 2 on that one. And then very last will be this tube. Okay, so now the cylinder head is ready for the machine shop. Some of you might have to take this part out. I don't have to. So that's it.